Thanks for checking in on the State of Basketball Podcast, episode 118. I'm Adam Miller, and I'm here with Jaren Will each and every week, and we are going to be bringing you the news and notes on all 11 Division I schools in the state of Indiana, because in 49 states...
it's just basketball.
I was in Indy this weekend. We are not an Indy-based production, but we are an Indiana-based production. I was down in Indy, and it was a little sad because I didn't get to see the big bracket when it was up. I never made it.
Oh,
Like we didn't go to the Final Four this year. I didn't get to see the big bracket when it was up, but
and they've already taken it down.
they did take it down. But it is replaced with this is May.
The Indy 500.
Yep, it is May in Indianapolis, which is a great time to be there. It's down there for the mini marathon. Ran on the track. Did not kiss the bricks. It's a thing, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know. Ran this.
I know.
I didn't.
Why didn't you kiss them? You should always kiss the bricks when you're at
Sanitary reasons. I wanted to be here today. You know. I didn't want to give you. I didn't want to get you.
You're not
going
to get sick from a brick.
You saw the amount of feet and then lips I saw on those things. A super spreader.
Never met anyone that got sick from kissing the bricks.
The bricks, they're immune.
Almost disrespectful that you didn't kiss them.
You know, I think the least Indiana thing about me is my lack of interest in the 500.
Yeah, it kind of blows.
It's just my family was never into it.
My family wasn't, and then I went to college and made a lot of friends with.
None of my friends in college were
people
either
who were into it.
But
then I lived in Indy.
Yeah,
and endured 146-degree heat
down in there
to watch the.
It was cool being in
there
and seeing the track, because I mean that was also my first time at the IMS. So
did you skip across and hit a ball off the course there?
Oh, the golf course
that goes through the middle of it. It goes through the middle of it.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering why there were so many hills there. I did not know that. No, they were actually like
there's a couple holes that cut through the speedway.
That's pretty cool. I did notice the golf course when we got out, because we came out on that side, but yeah, had not been, but it was cool. It was a nice place. I had not been there before, so I don't know. Feel like I did the 2.5 mile loop. It was a good time. Good race. Indy's always a great place to be. We walked to the start line. Got like a 2 mile walk in. It's a good warm up. It's a good warm up to loosen the legs, but it was like perfect weather. So it was the 50th anniversary. Sold out. 30,000 some people signed up. It's a good event. Indy knows how to put on an event, but yeah, was a little sad I didn't get to see the bracket. But back for episode 118, where we're talking about the other 5 schools. We talked about Ball State, Butler, Evansville, IU, Indiana State, and IU Indy last week. Now we're going to be talking about Notre Dame, Purdue, Fort Wayne, Southern Indiana, and Valpo. So, you got anything else before we start?
No. We for everyone to recap. If you watched the first several minutes of last week's episode, then you'll see the power rankings when we started the season and end of the season. But for those of you who are back for part 2, I will save you from hearing my voice that often or that much in a row, and we'll skip that. But Notre Dame, as Adam mentioned, where we are starting today, this may come as a surprise. Still in the ACC. With the Stanfords of the world.
Yeah, the quintessential ACC schools that you think of.
Yeah, Notre Dame and Stanford. Both famously.
SMU.
Both,
also.
all 3 famously on the Atlantic coast. They are still...
This Midwest erasure, man.
They are still coached by Micah Shrewsbury. Things got pretty interesting throughout the year, but he retained the job. So looking at their preseason ranking, they were 64th. And as we begin to talk, you'll understand what I mean if you didn't follow Notre Dame closely, what I mean by things getting dicey and interesting with him. But started the season preseason 64, so it was pretty promising in that regard. They had a highly touted. See what I did there? Recruitment class, both transfers and
proud of that.
And it was not intentional. And freshmen that came in, but they ended up ending the season at 102, so just outside of the top 100. Again, these are Torvik rankings. That's what we use. That's what the rankings are. Other metrics might have different, but we use Torvik, so those are the numbers we're saying. Based on the Torvik computers, Bart Torvik himself, their preseason projected record and conference record and ranking was 17-3 overall. Pretty reasonable.
That was a projection.
Pretty reasonable. That was the projection.
Mm-hmm.
And then 8-10 in the ACC. Again, ACC, I'd say one of the tougher conferences in the country. So being 8-10 is probably all right. Which that would have had them at a 5-way tie for 9th. But based on, tiebreakers and whatnot, they would have actually been 10th.
Mm-hmm.
We predicted that they would go 2-1. So from a non-con perspective, they would go 2-1 between their games of Ohio State, Mizzou, and TCU. And then they'd go 2-1 in the players era, giving them an 11-2 non-conference record. Conference record, we projected 11-7, so just on the other side of the tilt that Torvik had them. All of this added together would have been 22-9 overall, which would have likely had them in the NCAA tournament. So where they finished, they were 13-18 overall, 4-14 in the ACC. And that had them in 16th place out of...
How many teams are in this conference anyway? 18 now?
18, I think. 18 sounds right.
Let's push it to 20, 30. Why stop there? 364. Let's put them all in one conference.
I mean, at the rate we're going for the NCAA tournament, it's dang near gonna be.
I want to see a non-conference game between IU and Chicago State, That's what the people want. Northwestern Chicago State conference matchup.
So I alluded at the top about their incoming recruitment class. So tell me, Adam, what did their roster look like?
Well, I mean, they did return a lot of production. They brought back Marcus Burton. He was been injured for a little bit every single season that he's been there, basically. But this is their lead guard, leading scorer, first team all ACC, and I think was the leading scorer last year in the ACC. So, I mean, that's when you're going against guys like Cooper Flagg, like that's Con Knippel, like that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Bring him back. They bring back Braden Shrewsbury. Yes, relation to the coach. That's your 3-point shooter. They brought back Cole Serta, who we thought could be like possibly, a guy who brings some production in his sophomore year. And then kind of the most notable one that they brought in for like a transfer is Carson Tout, who was leading the nation in rebounding. But when Notre Dame recruited him, he was the leading rebounder in college basketball the year before. He's 6'8" forward who, will just gobble up boards, which is perfect for the amount that they shoot it. They need someone down low to be able to get the boards. Mm-hmm. And then the whole, like, the thing that kind of made us so positive on Notre Dame going into this season was this freshman class that they brought in. They bring in Jalen Harrelson, number 19 in his class, and he was the highest rated prospect in the modern era. He was a 5-star, so he was rated even higher than Marcus Burton was, who was, better than advertised. And then they brought in Ryder Frost, a fringe top 100 guy, shot 44% from 3, and then Brady Kohler, another center from Cathedral, which I think is Micah Shrewsbury's high school, right?
Sounds.
I think he was a Cathedral guy. So they bring in, a really good freshman class and pair that up with Marcus Burton and Braden Shrewsbury and Carson Tout, and it's like, okay, this is a team that can do something, right? You lose Matalaka, who's gonna, will you to win games and knock down threes, and you think that this is going to be the year, right, where you get back to the tournament. Well, not exactly, and we'll talk about kind of what happened in their big games in a second, but you expect Marcus Burton to be the guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did technically average the most points. He averaged 18.5 points, right?
Yeah.
Which is about what you expect him. And he shot a respectable 30% from three. I think it was lower, or I think that was higher than last year, but his sophomore year from three, 37% his sophomore year. So down a little bit about what his freshman year was, but you expect him to contribute and be, leading scorer in the ACC again. He only played 10 games. He tore his ACL, right?
I think so.
Wasn't it his ACL?
It was something.
He was out. He went down early. He never came back, and that completely changes the dynamic of this team. Jalen Harrelson spends a little bit of time on injury. And Jai spends some time on injury. He only plays 17 games. Let's see. You just you struggle, right? You don't have Marcus Burton. You're like, okay, what do we do? Well, you slide Jalen Harrelson in to, be a point forward type and let him play. And he averages 16 points. He got off to a slow start a lot when Marcus Burton was still playing. I think he didn't get off to the start that we wanted, but eventually he hit his stride. He averaged 16 points. Cole Serta,
4 rebounds, 3 assists.
Yeah.
So
he was
second in both. Technically, he led the team in assists throughout the course of the season. Obviously, it's a little skewed because Burton didn't play for 21 games.
Right.
So Burton technically had higher average, but when you factor in playing time and who played, Harrelson did lead the team in assists and was second in rebounds.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it was another type where their leading scorer, their go-to guy, cannot shoot the three. He shot 20% from three. Definitely the biggest issue with this game. His free throw percentage is also not great, but very efficient from the 2-point range and from the floor there. Cole Serta was good. Braden Shrewsbury was good. Both able to shoot the ball. You had shooters on this team. Brady Kohler was, pretty good for being a freshman coming in, but they just never it just never materialized with having Marcus Burton down. You're missing 20 points a game.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a pretty big vote.
You're missing 20 points a game.
Did Harrelson, Serta, and Shrewsbury, did their point totals increase because he wasn't there? Oh, I'm sure slightly, but not 20 points.
Yeah.
They're not making up. No one's making up the 20 points.
I think Jalen Harrelson can average 16 with Marcus Burton on the floor.
100%.
I think it's almost easier for him to average 16 with Marcus Burton on the floor.
Yeah.
So when Marcus Burton goes down, this team, pretty much that kind of told you that this was going to be almost a lost season. Going into the year, we thought, okay, they beat Butler in a scrimmage or exhibition game. So they beat them in October by 1, and we're like, okay, we also expected Butler to be pretty good.
Yep.
They had a very similar situation where they were riddled with injury and could never really get off the ground after the start. So then, we said their big games were they're going to play at Ohio State. They have the Players Era Festival where they're going to play Kansas, Rutgers, and then
Houston.
That third team ended up being Houston.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 incredible games. Rutgers is the one that doesn't really stick out, but Kansas and Houston, and then Rutgers is still going to be a quality win if you can get it. They host Missouri. They're at TCU. Then they play Evansville and PFW. So they play 2 Indiana teams. But right there, that's 6, 7 even. That's 6 or 7 really good quality games in the non-conference that you have. But they ended up losing to Ohio State by 1.
which we expected, right?
Yeah.
We said Ohio State, Mizzou, TCU go 2-1. They did go 2-1. Ohio State being the loss. Then we thought they'd go 2-1 in players, but like we mentioned, they played Kansas. Okay, probably gonna lose that game.
Yeah.
Kansas beat a lot of people.
They lost by 10. They bounced back and beat Rutgers.
Still respect. 10-point loss to. At that point in the season, Darren Peterson was probably playing. So
I don't think he was. I think he started the season hurt, didn't he?
I don't remember actually.
You can never remember.
I thought I got hurt.
When in doubt.
A little bit.
Yeah. So they lose. Then they lose to Houston in the final game. Only by 10 though.
We don't expect. In what world is Houston playing? In the losers bracket, you know what I mean?
Who did they lose to? Do you remember this?
I could tell you.
Okay. Yeah, so they pull Houston, which is that wasn't. They lost to Tennessee. Yeah. That was a tough pull.
Yeah. Playing Houston coming off a loss is not what any team wants to see.
I was trying to see here. Yeah, so Marcus Burton, he drops in Players Era Festival, he averaged 21 points.
Yeah.
So then he goes down in the TCU game. He has 6 points. He's 50% from the field. He goes down against TCU. They end up winning that game in overtime by 2. They beat Missouri by 5. So they have really good wins. And then he goes down against TCU. They beat Idaho and Evansville, which they should. And then this is when you knew that it was over. They lose at home to Purdue Fort Wayne, which is not a knock on the Dons and John Kaufman. They are literally known for beating power conference teams in Indiana.
Yeah.
Famously, very famously. In their own building even. So he's beaten IU, he's beaten Notre Dame, he's collecting power conference wins in Indiana like infinity stones. They bounce back, beat Stanford by 7 at Stanford.
And then one of the lowest scoring games I've ever seen in my life.
47-40. 47-40, and Houston was not involved. They scored more points on Houston than Stanford.
Yeah.
Then they go on a 5-game losing streak. Win a game to Boston College, go on another 5-game losing streak, win 1, lose 2, win 1, lose 2.
Did not make the ACC tournament.
Really? I thought everyone made it. They got cut. They did get cut, right?
Mm-hmm.
They only send 15 or something dumb. It's if you're gonna send that many, just send them all.
I think it's 14.
Just send them all at that point. So as soon as Burton goes down with injury, this team was they just didn't have anyone who could. They didn't have the point guard to fix this, unfortunately. And we'll talk about some of the offseason stuff, but it's going to be a big rebuild for the Irish again and Notre Dame, and it's going to be an interesting season going forward for Micah Shrewsbury. But what were their goals? What did we think that they could do when we were looking at the season before we knew Marcus Burton was going to miss 21 games with an injury?
So we said they'd make the NCAA tournament and finish top 4 in the ACC.
Which, to be fair, we had them going 11-7.
Yeah,
11-7. Louisville was a 6 seed at 11-7, and NC State was 10-8 and was an 11 seed. So if they went 11-7 in conference, it was completely reasonable, especially given the fact that they in non-conference beat TCU and Missouri. That was gonna help their resume a lot.
11-7 would not have had them in the top 4 though. But
no. But it would have been good enough to get into the tournament. Didn't expect
Virginia and Miami to be as good as they were.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those goals were not met.
Yeah, but this one was due to injury. is really what it is.
It's a Mickey Mouse season, and the injury is probably the only thing that kept Micah Shrewsbury from losing his job, if I was going to be honest.
That or an insanely high buyout. I'm not sure. Maybe both.
Yeah, could have been a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Our next school was Purdue Fort Wayne. They are still in the Horizon League, and Coach Kaufman is still the coach. This was his 12th season at the helm. Preseason, they were ranked 194 by Torvik, so just outside the 200. Kind of expected it when you lose the pieces that you did. Their postseason ranking was 262, which, if I was a betting man, I'd say is probably one of their lowest end of season rankings, and in some years. I think maybe Adam's looking that up for me. I don't know. Their preseason projected record and conference ranking, 18-12 was the projection. 12-8 in the Horizon League, which would have had them fourth, but technically by tiebreakers tied for second. There were 3 teams tied for first at 13-7, and 3 teams tied for second at 12-8. So that tells you how top heavy the Horizon League was. So being 12-8 would have been pretty decent. We predicted that they'd go 6-5 in the non-con. They'd have the wins over their 3 non-D1 teams. Then they played Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan, and Chicago State. We expected those wins as well. And then the other 5 games were, tough opponents, right? We talked about Notre Dame. They had several others in there of, power conference teams or upper echelon teams, which is par for the course for John Coffin. That is what he likes to do. Then we said they would be 11-9 in the Horizon League. So just under the projection, the metrics said, with an overall record of 17-14. Their actual record, 17-15, 11-9 in the conference. We were good. We were spot on with this.
We were pretty close. That one extra loss that we didn't take into account,
because we didn't take into account any postseason stuff.
I know.
So they ended the season exactly where we thought that they would, which was 6th in the Horizon League. So, again, the Horizon League was really good this year, and Purdue Fort Wayne did not really perform the way that you'd expect a Purdue Fort Wayne team to perform.
They were missing. I mean,
obviously, they did a good job of
they lost a lot.
We did a good job of kind of predicting it, but we also kind of thought that 11-9 would be a little higher than 6th in the league. Talk to us about,
for reference, talking about them finishing 262. Last year they finished 166. Fun fact, in 2024 they also finished 166th.
Okay.
So 160. So they finished 100 spots lower than they did the last 2 years. This is their third lowest finish in a season. In 2021 they finished at 270th. That's their lowest. And then in 2020 they finished 269th. Now, obviously 2020 they never got to finish the rest of the season. And then they only played 23 games, they only played 23 games that year. They went 8-15. So they went 8-15 and finished 270th, and 6-14 in the conference. They're right around. I mean, they were right around there. The next year they finished 15-6, but like 11-9 in the 260th is like very interesting that they won so many more games but finished about the same spot in the metrics. Just a lot of games this year that they could have won and I think slipped away. But guys they brought back, I mean, the guys they lost were the biggest factor. This was kind of,
they lost their entire 4 of their starting 5.
Yeah, they
And their
lost.
sixth
They
win.
lost the hardest working man in America, right? They lost Eric Mulder, and then obviously they lost the three-headed snake, the big three of Jalen Jackson Jr., Rasheed Bello, and Quentin Warren Robinson. They lose those three guys, and that is, I mean, three all-league level guards
Mm-hmm.
who, you know, two were out of eligibility, and one went to Butler.
Yeah.
Like one went to a power school. Like
Yeah.
deservedly so. So, you know, you lose three really, really good guards, but you had one guy waiting in the wings to take that production and use the most of it as he could, and he did. Corey Hadnot comes back. He only averaged 9 points. Okay. So remember that. He only averaged 9 points, but he shot about 40%. Maximus Nelson, their 3-point shooter, your only returning starter, only averaged 7 the year before, but he shot 40% from three. D'Angelo Ellisy and Chris Morgan came back. They bring in Fort Wayne native Mikhail Stevenson. They bring in DeAndre Craig, both guys who had pretty good production and should be able to be a good fit here. And, you know, they bring in some freshmen. But again, they had to replace so much.
Mm-hmm.
They just had to replace so much. So let me pull up here what their actual production was.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Corey Hadnot averaging 9 a game last year.
Mhm.
Well, he averaged 20 a game this year.
Yeah.
Still, he shot 40% last year, shot 36% this year, which is obviously his volume is going to increase, but his shooting staying the same or relatively close to the same is what you want to see, right? Maximus Nelson, his shooting went down a little bit. He was 37% 3-point shooter this year, averaged just under 8 points a game. So still went up a little bit, but he played his role. His role was to go out and get you 7 to 8 points a game on almost 40% shooting.
Played it perfectly.
By golly, that's what he did. Then you got DeAndre Craig and Mikhail Stevenson, who we mentioned were guys that came in. DeAndre Craig averaged 14, so you know that's just above what he did at Denver last year.
But shot 10% better from three.
But shot better. So
the guys they brought in to have production, did have production. DeAndre Craig and Mikhail Stevenson were supposed to be we're exactly what they were supposed to be, basically.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. Like Mikhail Stevenson last year averaged at Grambling State 11 points, 4 boards. This year he averaged about 14 points, about 4 boards. Mm-hmm. So
and added 3 assists.
Translated perfectly. The problem is outside of those 3, with the addition, I guess, outside of those 4 that we've talked about, they just didn't have anything. The next guy, Darius Duffy, averaged 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 3 guys last year that are averaging high numbers, right? And then you got Max at 7, and then Mulder just getting every rebound ever. Well, now you've got 3 that are averaging decent numbers, but then no one else is doing anything.
Yeah.
And that really played a factor, I think, and especially when you look at teams at the top of the conference.
And Eric Mulder down low, when he was there, averaged about 8 and 8. He was like 8 points and 7 rebounds, basically, is what he averaged.
Their rebound leader this year averaged 4.
Yeah.
So
you didn't have, quite the rebounding, but I mean, it was, the rebounding was pretty spread out. And I mean, you only had, other than Darius Duffy, who shot no threes, you only had 2 guys shooting below 30% from 3, which is good. Like that, that to me is a John Kaufman team if I've ever seen one. But yeah, I mean, just like the Horizon League, I also think was better than people expected, and pretty deep.
Yeah, I mean, you've got
Green Bay was really good.
Yeah, you've got,
and that's weird to say.
Wright State, which is clear top of the league, 15-5. You got Robert Morris at 13-7. You've got 3 teams: Oakland, Green Bay, and Detroit Mercy, all at 12-8.
And I think anyone from Wright State, Robert Morris, Oakland, Green Bay, Detroit Mercy and PFW, I could have seen winning the tournament. Like, I could have seen any of them do it, and it wouldn't have been too far-fetched. Like, I'm pretty sure Detroit Mercy and Wright State played in the championship, and I think Green Bay played in the semis.
I can confirm for you.
Because I know that Wright State beat Detroit Mercy after beating Northern Kentucky. And Detroit Mercy only lost by 3.
No, it was Northern Kentucky that played in the.
Did they beat
Northern Kentucky beat
Green Bay?
Detroit Mercy. Or sorry.
What? No, Detroit Mercy lost by 3 to Wright State.
Yeah, Northern Kentucky. Wright State beat Northern Kentucky.
Yeah.
Green Bay beat Robert Morris. What was I looking at?
And Green Bay would have lost to Detroit Mercy, I believe, in the semis.
Yes.
No.
No.
Robert Morris beat
Green Bay.
Okay.
Beat Detroit Mercy.
Anyway, no, Detroit Mercy beat them. Detroit Mercy played in the championship game. Yeah. Detroit Mercy lost by 3, and then Wright State ended up
looking at.
Wright State ended up losing by like 9 to Virginia in the tournament, and like that was a very good Virginia. That was a
Here it is. Northern
Virginia
Kentucky
team.
beat Green Bay to then lose on to Wright State in the semis.
So I mean, the fact that the team that comes out of this league loses by 9 to Virginia tells you everything you need to know about how strong this league is.
Yeah.
And Detroit Mercy lost to them by 3. So like really it's just so heavy at the top, and there are some great coaches in this league, and it's just hard to win in this league. So like we looked at the beginning of the season, we looked at the schedule, and it was like, okay, they play Valpo in a secret scrimmage, they lose. But, you know, we didn't really know what Valpo or PFW were going to do this year. They played at Grand Canyon, played at Western Michigan, played at Utah, played at St. Louis, and played at Notre Dame. Like, very typical schedule for John Kaufman to put his team through it, you know, so that they can be tested. They lose to, like, a incredible St. Louis team, as expected. You know, they lose to Ohio State, but they beat Notre Dame. Like, that's the big one, right? They beat Notre Dame, and that's not even a top 100 team.
No.
Like,
no.
It's the most shocking part. And then they sweep 145 Robert Morris. Those are like their biggest wins. Other than that, they just didn't get a ton on the resume. I mean, they kind of lost some weird ones, like almost a 30-point loss to Youngstown State.
I mean, they had a close loss to Wright State.
Barely, yeah, but then they barely lose to Wright State, right?
And then they all lose by almost 20 to Green Bay. So it
was very like a very up and down season.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, you know, we thought they were going to finish top 6, and like that would be their goal: finish top 6 in the Horizon League and 500 in conference. I mean, they finished top 6.
Yeah.
And they were 1 away. So, I mean, looking at what they lost, I think that this season was successful.
Yeah.
Obviously, they would have liked to win a game in the conference tournament, or 2 or 3.
Or the whole thing. Yeah. Well, I guess 3 would have had them winning the whole thing.
I think they would have had to have won 4, right? Because they played in the first round.
Yeah, because they were the playing game.
Yeah, they were in the playing game or whatever.
But I mean, yeah, the result is obviously you want to go out in this season on a win or a conference, right? You want hardware of some capacity. They didn't get that, but like you said, they met the goals that we had for them.
Yeah,
it was a successful season in our eyes, just in the sense of like when you look at everything that they had to replace, the production, the leadership, things like that. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it sucks when you have barely above 500 record.
Yeah,
but you gotta look at everything else going on. They're like, yeah, it's still a success.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it wasn't like
finds ways to.
But it wasn't like the team who won the league was like 17-3. You know, they were 15-5. So like, you know, up there, but like Detroit Mercy was 12-8. Green Bay was 12-8. Oakland was 12-8. Like no one was sniffing Wright State, basically. Robert Morris was 2 games back. So they were right there in that like second tier, I would say, in the Horizon League. So, I mean, met expectations. Would have liked to see them be a little bit better, but they lost a lot and had to replace a lot. So let's talk about Purdue. Matt Painter, still there, still in the Big Ten. These Purdue teams, they just keep their coaches for a long time. They find good guys.
The 2 longest tenured coaches in the state.
Yeah, by far, by a long margin.
Yeah.
I mean, who would even be next? G?
Yeah.
And some of those years were not at D1. Like G's next.
Yeah.
At Southern Indiana. I think that's crazy. Yeah, they just find good guys that can win consistently and they keep them. So their preseason rank, according to Torvik, was 5th, and they finished the season in 8th. So very high, right? Went down a little bit, but
still top 10.
Still top 10, man. So Torvik projected that they would go 22-8 and 12-8 in the Big Ten, which would be first, tied for Michigan. Technically second, because I think Michigan had like better computer numbers. But spoiler alert, Michigan did win the Big Ten, and it wasn't close.
No.
I think Michigan was 18-2, or no, 19-1, weren't they? They were 19-1, I believe.
I will confirm.
So we thought Purdue's non-conference, 11-0. Like I've seen Matt Painter do it before.
They were 19-1,
19-1,
which was 4 games above second place.
Yeah,
second, third, and fourth place.
Yeah, and Purdue was neither one of those teams.
No
spoilers. So we thought that they were going to go undefeated in the non-conference, and then in the conference we thought they would go 16-4. We did just spoil it. They did not go 16-4 because they were not 4 games back. We thought that they would finish 27-4 overall, and thought that would be good enough for a 1 seed. That would have been good enough for a 1 seed, almost certainly, especially given where they ended up being seeded this season. So their actual record was 30-9, and so they took 5 more losses than we thought that they would. I guess 4 more losses because 1 lost in the season. And then they finished 13-7 in the Big Ten. They finished tied for 6th in the Big Ten with UCLA. So a little bit worse of a record than we projected. They were also, we should go say, they were the number 1 preseason team, according to the AP, and pretty much anyone. Why?
Well, when you've got guys like Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, and Trey Kaufman-Wren, you're probably going to be all right? These are 3 seniors that have been, 2 of the 3 have been starters since day 1. And then the third, Trey Kaufman-Wren, has pretty much been, even when there was a little bit of a period when he wasn't a starter, but still a starter level player. He just had guys like Zach Edey playing in front of him.
A little guy named Zach Edey. You heard of him?
So, and then you got like, your 2 spark plugs, CJ Cox, Jakari Harris, and then you've got Daniel Jacobson, who everyone thinks is probably going to be the starting center. From a return, obviously coming back from a broken leg that was pretty brutal to end the season, or the season prior.
Yeah. Ended his season. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's the rim protector, the guy that's going to go out there and give you quality defense,
which is what they missed, right?
Yeah. The year prior. Then you've got guys like Oscar Clough and Liam Murphy coming in. Oscar Clough was a guy who transferred in from South Dakota State, averaged 17 points, 3 boards. He was a 63% field goal shooter. He's 6'11", big dude, big, quite literally burly. You think of a guy from South Dakota, even though he's not even from South Dakota. The vision that you have in your head right now is what Oscar Clough is.
I could see Oscar Clough and Eric Mulder doing manual labor together.
Yeah.
Just ripping darts and doing some
working at a lumber yard. Yeah.
Somewhere.
And then you've got...
I see them in hard hats, man.
Yeah. And then you've got highly touted recruit Omar Meyer, who's coming in. He's an absolute scorer, distributor, shooter, a do-it-all type guard. A guy that you think is going to be the Lance Jones from 2 years prior.
That missing piece, right?
Yeah, and then you've got Antoine West, who's another 3-star recruit that came in. So, yeah, I mean, you've got preseason player of the year guy, one of the best three-point shooters in college basketball, one of the best power forwards in college basketball in TKR. And then you look at what they did. Braden Smith averaged almost a double-double, 14 points, 8.8 assists. Obviously didn't average a double-double, but he is also college basketball's all-time assists giver.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
That he did in like, I'm just glad he did it in 4 years.
Yeah. Then you got Trey Kaufman-Renn, who averaged 14 points. Then you got Fletcher Loyer, who averaged 14 points. Quite literally, Braden Smith, 14.3. Trey Kaufman-Renn, 14.2. Fletcher Loyer, 14.1. And then not a huge drop-off when you got Oscar Clough, who is averaging 10.6. So, and obviously you got CJ Cox. Jakari Harris didn't have a great season. He played every game, but just didn't have the prolific scoring that we kind of thought that he would. Just, played 15 minutes a game, 16 minutes a game, played his role. Daniel Jacobson, kind of a flub. Just like...
There were some games where he was unplayable, some games where he was like...
You can't take this guy off the court.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like one of those things that was like ebbs and flows, which probably reasonable when you think about he didn't play the entire season before.
But Oscar Clough was like
Oscar Clough was the guy that ended up, he was the center. He a little undersized compared to normal Purdue centers when you think of 7+ footers. I think it's CJ Cox, who was just probably the most clutch player or clutch shooter on the team. He only averaged 8.5, but he was a guy that you went to if Braden's shot wasn't falling and you needed a big shot to reinvigorate the team.
Yeah, always ready for the moment, man.
Yeah, he did not shy away from the limelight. So that was their production, right? You've got two guys almost averaging double-doubles with points and boards, and Oscar Clough, Trey Kaufman-Renn. You've got a 43% three-point shooter in Fletcher Loyer,
who's made more threes than anyone else in Purdue history.
That also is true. And, a lot of this came with, they played just under 30 minutes, most of these guys. Mm-hmm. Braden played about 35 minutes a game, played all 39. The only guy that we've talked about that did not play every game was Trey Kaufman-Renn.
Mm-hmm.
They had...
He's hurt early. He missed 2 games early on.
Yeah. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that played all 39 games, which you also...
And Jack Benter played one more game than TKR.
Yeah. You also just don't see that often.
Yeah.
Which I think is a testament to Purdue's success. Generally speaking, guys stay healthy. I mean, I don't think Braden Smith has missed a game ever. Nor is Fletcher Loyer.
That's a good question.
Ever. I think they might have gotten hurt and come out of a game.
Yeah.
Or I guess not hurt, but injured and come out of a game. But I'm pretty sure that they played every game.
I could track.
Of every season, all 4 years.
Which and you say they played that many games, but Jack Benter and Jakari Harris averaged about 15 and 16 minutes. So they're not just getting in garbage time. They're playing.
Yeah.
They're playing in the game.
Yeah.
They're going to have a meaningful plus minus. Jack Benter shooting 40% from 3, on his minutes, not shooting a lot, but he's getting shots up. His shots are going up, and he's not just out there at the end of the game. Which is a very interesting stat. That's got to be one of the most interesting stat lines that you look at. Normally you would expect Oscar Clough to play 35 minutes and Fletcher Loyer to play 35, 40 minutes. It just wasn't how it was, and I thought it would work. It worked out for Purdue, right? Matt Painter, man. So, very good roster, obviously. Number one team coming into the season, and had a very, just like John Kaufman, man, something about these Purdue coaches. They schedule tough. Like, they had an exhibition game at Kentucky. They lose. Kentucky is crowning themselves national champions. It's awesome. They lost to Purdue in an exhibition game, or they beat Purdue in an exhibition game. That's a curse. You don't want to beat Purdue in an exhibition game. They play UIndy. Then they play Evansville to open the season. Tough break for Evansville. Then they go to Bama. They play Memphis. And who they play next?
Tech.
Texas Tech. And then who they play after that?
Eastern Illinois.
But
that wasn't
in the thing.
No, the MTE was Memphis.
Right, because it was the Baja Mar thing.
Yeah.
Then they played Iowa State at home, and they played Marquette in Indy. No, at home?
Yeah, they played them at home.
And then they played Auburn in Indy in December. So we expected them to go undefeated in the non-conference, and they were a blowout away from that. They were a blowout away from going undefeated. They had, I mean, the worst loss I've ever seen in Mackey. That the worst loss I can remember.
Right.
To like a non-conference team, especially, but like someone coming in and just beating the brakes off of them in Mackey was foreign to me. And like, this is one that just immediately, like, Iowa State was winning this game and winning by a lot. Like, it was one that, like, the score, it still was not as close as the score showed, and they lost by like 20 something.
Yeah, I remember exactly where I was during that game.
I don't.
I was at Kilroy's in Broad Ripple.
No. Yeah,
because it was the day of the Big Ten championship for football.
That's right.
And IU's game against Louisville.
Mm-hmm. Oh, bad day for the basketball teams. Good day for football.
Yeah.
So they ended up beating Alabama. They beat 22 Wisconsin, beat 23 Iowa, 17 Nebraska. Yes, 17 ranked Nebraska. They beat the national champions in the Big Ten tournament championship game. They beat Michigan.
They beat Michigan twice this year.
Yeah. No, just once.
Oh, yep. Sorry, I was looking at.
Just once.
I was looking at.
And then in the tournament. Then in the tournament, they get a 2 seed. They get a 2 seeds, so they beat 15 seed Queens. Then they beat 7 seed Miami. Malik Renew finished his career below 500 to Purdue. And then they beat 11 seed Texas. So then they end up going to the Sweet 16. Sorry, the Elite 8.
Mm-hmm.
And they lose to Arizona.
Yes.
79-64. And honestly, I mean, Arizona, like, you and I talked about this. That was like the worst. We were like, you don't want to, like, Arizona's a bad matchup for Purdue.
Yeah.
Like, which is interesting because I felt like when Purdue lost, it's when people were shooting insane from 3, but Arizona just doesn't. And Purdue forced Arizona to shoot a bunch of threes in the first half, and like, it was pretty close. And then Arizona just played their game in the second half and played how they wanted to finally, and they just couldn't stop them. So finished as the 8th ranked team and made it to the Elite 8. So like, that's pretty good. Like, obviously when you're the preseason number 1 team, losing at all in the tournament is not what you want to do.
Yeah.
But you made the tournament, which North Carolina didn't that one time when they were the preseason number 1 team.
Yeah. But we set our season goal, right, was to win the national championship. Like, this team was primed for that. The problem was you had a team like Arizona who was undefeated for most of the season. Then you also had a team like Michigan who was undefeated for most of the season, and just one of the most dominant Big Ten teams I've seen in a very long time. So you had those things that were going against you. But I mean, they won the Big Ten tournament, which they had to play 3 games to do it, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it 4? They had to play
in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, 4 games to do it. So, like, obviously, that's a lot of games, and they just they ran the gauntlet, almost 2 games away from the maximum you would have had to play.
And they weren't close to like
No, 81,
they
68,
were all, they were all
74,
big
58,
wins.
73, 66, 80, 70. The UCLA game being the closest game in the semifinals.
Purdue stays playing double-digit seeds in the third round of the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
I don't know why. So funny.
And they were 2 seed is where they ended up. So
they played to their seed. I mean, they played based on their seed, they got out exactly when they were supposed to.
Yeah. And
like
it was
Arizona,
a very talk tournament in general.
Arizona was the team that like people were like, I feel like it's going to be Arizona, Michigan. Like it felt like it was going to be Arizona, Michigan.
Duke for most of the season.
Yeah, Duke had injuries, so it was like Arizona, Michigan, and Duke were like the teams. And then it was like, okay, Duke's got injuries, so it'll probably be Arizona, Michigan. And Purdue was just along that path. So
yeah.
Tough matchup for them to go out. We said that their goal was national championship, so they didn't meet that. So like technically they didn't meet the goals, but like they also lost more games than we thought, but like they finished 8th. Like that's still, I don't know. I think if you would ask, like I don't think it's like a failure of a season because they won the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
They didn't want to finish 6th in the Big Ten, and I'm pretty sure if you would ask Braden Smith if the season was successful, he'd probably tell you no, because he didn't walk away with a national championship ring.
Yeah.
And like a most outstanding player, right? Like that was the goal for this team. Like not our goal, that was their goal for this team. So, I mean, fell short, but
speaking of falling short, our next school is Southern Indiana. They are still in the Ohio Valley Conference. They are still coached by Stan Gerard, our 5th, or he's in year 5, our 3rd longest tenured coach in the state. That is his 3rd year at the Division I level. Very successful at D2 under UND and Southern Indiana before the transition. Has not quite translated, generally speaking, at the D1 level, but still there. Preseason ranking, they were 300. Postseason ranking, they were 336. So a pretty sizable drop, especially when you consider the gap at the bottom of the teams in the country.
Yeah.
Their preseason projected record was 15-15, 9-11 in the OVC, which was good for 6th, but it was a 4-way tie for 6th. Our predictions were in the non-con, they'd lose to Indiana State and Butler. They'd go 1-1 in the Boardwalk battle. They'd beat VMI, and then they'd end up, all in all, 5-6 in the non-con. Their conference, we projected 11-9, and then overall we projected 16-15. Their actual record was 7-23. Their conference record was 4-16. They finished 10th, which was second to last in the OVC, making them the second of the 2 teams, or no. Yeah, second of the 2 teams that became ineligible for the OVC conference tournament. So they did not get to play that.
Dude, they were one of the first teams to be eliminated from the NCAA tournament because, like, once they couldn't make the OVC tournament, they obviously can't make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
So, like, they were one of the very first teams that, like...
I think the second.
Yeah.
I think...
by the numbers, like, the second team that
because the team that...
going to be left out for certain.
The team that was before them was the team that was eliminated from OVC contention before them, which is escaping me at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they won 7 games. We thought that they were going to win 5 in the non-conference.
Yeah, and of those 7...
and 2 of them were non-D1.
Were non-D1.
So they won 5 real games. So they won 1 non-conference game.
That was against Valpo.
Huh?
That was
against Valpo.
Yeah. That was against Valpo.
which is ridiculous. Like,
yeah, when you consider the team we'll talk about next.
They brought back Braxton Jones and Josiah Dunham. I mean, Braxton Jones played a little bit. Josiah Dunham played sparingly. They brought in some new guys, a lot of new guys. Caden Brown from Grand Valley. They brought in Trey Thomas from Bethune-Cookman. They brought in Amari Brown, Ola Ajiboye, who used to be at Valpo and then at Tennessee Tech. And they brought in Cardale Bailey, and then they brought in Ishmael Habib. So they brought in some guys, and we had absolutely no idea who was going to be good and who wasn't. Amari Brown was good. And every time I see his name, I still want to say Amari Bailey. It just can't not see it. He was good. Cardale Bailey was good. Trey Thomas was good. Caden Brown were good. Those are 4 guys that averaged double-digit points. And then Ishmael Habib was very good. Averaged almost 15 on almost 4 boards and almost 3 assists. So he was definitely the leader on this team. But my God, I mean, like, Trey Thomas averaged 11 to almost 12 points. He played 4 games. Like, Caden Brown averaged 11 points. He played 13 games. Amari Brown averaged 13.8 points. He played 16 games. So you're looking at, like, okay, who were the real producers who played all season? Okay, well, Tolu Samuels, he played 7 points. Ajiboye played 30 games, 6 points, 6.5 points.
Stephen Clay and Sheridan Sharp, 30 games, 4.4 points each.
Devin Curtis, 27 games, 2 points. So, like, other than Habib and Cardale Bailey, like, you didn't really have anybody. Like, you had nobody. I mean, Ajiboye, you know, gonna be a decent rim protector, and
you got Tolu, who's bringing in 9 boards a game, but
yeah, but then what? Like, what are you getting out of it? Like, looking at their Torvik numbers, like, they're 351st in offensive efficiency. Their field goal percentage is 363rd. Like, that's terrible. All their offensive numbers are horrible. The only thing they're, like, really good at is 2-point percentage defense, 57th. Like, that's it. That they don't let you get a lot of 2s.
But I'd rather have them give you a lot of 2s and not a lot of 3s.
Yeah. So they play Butler on November 5th. They play at South Dakota State. These are the kind of games we had circled at the beginning of the season. They play Incarnate Word, and then it was going to be either High Point or UIC, and they end up playing UIC. That's Illinois Chicago from the Valley, the other Valley. And then they played at Valpo and at Indiana State. Of all those games, they beat Valpo. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was their only. Valpo was ranked 164 at the end of the season. That was their only win over a top 320 team. So their other 6 wins came from teams ranked 320th or worse, or non-Division 1.
Yeah. So yeah, our season goals for them were to finish in the top half of the OVC and make the OVC tournament quarterfinals. Well, they finished second to last, and by those numbers, did not make the OVC tournament at all. So I would say that it was a pretty unsuccessful season. I don't think they were sniffing success.
No pushback here. I mean, no pushback. I mean, there were some close ones, but, like, ultimately, you got to win games, right?
Especially in your first year eligible for the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. Especially because a lot of these teams that they lost to were not very good. Tennessee State is decent, but, like, they lose to Eastern Illinois. They're 331. So, like, you only beat one team above ranked 320. You got to do better than that if you're going to make the OVC tournament.
Absolutely.
Now, Valpo. We did just talk about how they lost to Southern Indiana, but how did the rest of their season go? They started... This is our biggest jump, positive or negatively. They started 284 in Torvik. They finished the season 164. So 120 points. 120 spots they went up. They were projected to go 10-21 and 5-15 in the Valley. That would put them dead last 11th out of 11. We projected that they would go. We said they would go 6-5 in the non-conference, and then they would go 10-10 in the Valley. Put them at 16-15 overall. The actual record was 18-15, 11-9 in the Valley, and tied for 6th. So, much better than the Torvik prediction, right?
Yeah.
Much better. I'm going to pull up their page here for a second. It goes so much higher than I was. What was I looking for? I don't remember what I was looking for. So they finished so much higher than they were supposed to, right? Sorry, I lost my spot on the page. 6-5 was what we had for the non-conference. They ended up winning. Oh, sorry. They won one game in the conference tournament. So they went 17-14. Correct? Yes. They went 17-14. So they finished one game better than we thought that they were going to. And the thing is, their key returners, Justice McNair.
With 4.5 points.
Yeah, they
lost season prior.
They lost Cooper Schwieger, who was the freshman of the year, and then the most improved player. Which is crazy to be like the best freshman, then also the most improved player in the conference.
Yeah.
And then they lost Allright, who was the freshman of the year. And, they lose all these guys. And it's like, this is one where, like I look at Valpo and I look at Purdue Fort Wayne, and I kind of looked at them the same way, where like Purdue Fort Wayne lost most of their production.
Yeah.
Valpo lost most of their production.
I dare say all of their production.
Yeah. Literally, like they didn't even have like, at least Purdue Fort Wayne had Nelson coming back.
Yeah.
Like, who was a starter and was consistent, but like they just had no one. So it's like, okay, who are they bringing in? Like, who are they bringing in to replace these guys?
Yeah. I mean, they've got guys like Sean Tupola, who came in from St. Mary of the Woods with Coach McClung, who also moved up to Valpo. He averaged 14.5 points, 12 boards at St. Mary of the Woods. You had Isaiah Barnes, a Tulsa transfer, which is crazy, like coming from Tulsa to Valpo. So that's huge. But he was a guy that Powell already had a relationship with back when he was at Gonzaga and Vandy. You got Mark Brown Jr. who comes in as the number one JUCO transfer, averaged 13 points. Owen Deese, who was at Corpus Christi, averaged just under 10 points. Brody Whitaker, who transferred in from UIndy at the Division II level, 14 points. Tucker Tornada. They did bring in 5 true freshmen. You've got Sader Servilis, JT Pettigrew, Carter Hopoy, Rakeem Chaney, Kobe Walker, and then Jaden Watson, who was a red shirt the year prior. But a lot of freshmen, right? You look at their thing. Okay, 5 freshmen, in addition to some okay transfers from other mid majors, maybe guys transferring down, a couple kids transferring down, a couple guys transferring up
from NAIA,
JUCO, NAIA, right? Like you're all over the place. You're young, inexperienced, but then you look at their production. You got Owen Deese, who, let me remind you, transfer from Corpus Christi, right? He averaged 9.8 points and 4 boards the year prior. Averaged 12.8 points. Boards went down at 3.2, but he's your leading scorer there. Just above JT Pettigrew, who, again, I will also remind you, was a true freshman. And then just below JT Pettigrew at 12.5 on just under seven rebounds. You've got Rakeem Chaney, 10 points, also a true freshman. Then just below him at 9.1 points, Brody Whitaker. Like, young guys, Brody being a UIndy transfer, so D2 guys transferred up. Like, young core, and it's just
and you never know how they're gonna do. Like, you don't know if they're gonna be productive or not, if it's gonna translate to the next level. Like, you see guys come and like average the same or like a third as many, points. Like, you really never know.
I mean, like Sean Dubola, 6.4 points, 5.8 boards. That is, a decrease in what he had at St. Mary of the Woods.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, a little bit more competition, higher level play. You get that, but then you also see Brody Whitaker, who quite obviously, that translated. But then you've got the freshman that did it all. I mean, JT Pettigrew is Valpo's leading freshman rebounder.
Yeah.
He broke the record that was broken
by
Schwieger 2 years prior. So, like...
And I thought he should have been the freshman of the year in the Valley, but he got beat out by that dude at Murray State, who came off the bench, mind you. JT Pettigrew started and should have won. They should have had another freshman of the year, but like early on in the season, like I thought Rakeem Chaney was going to be the freshman of the year because the way he was going nuclear. Like, Deese, Pettigrew, and Chaney were just, solid all year long.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh my gosh, like we can get these, we can get these guys back. I think Deese is out of eligibility, but like you're looking at it's like in the world of basketball, like we're not going to get these guys back, but like we could get them back.
Right.
And so you're like looking at it and you're like, we're not expecting to win a lot. I mean, obviously they probably were, but like they beat Eastern Illinois, they lose to Kentucky, but then they go beat Nicholls State, Bryant, Cleveland State. They lose to Southern Indiana, and that's a head scratcher. They beat Western Michigan. They should have beat Marquette. My goodness.
Who they took to overtime.
Yeah, they should have beat them. They lose by 3. Then they hit a rough stretch, right, where they have a 5-game losing streak, and then they don't lose more than 2 games in a row the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And
they lost to Bradley in double overtime in the Missouri Valley in Arch Madness.
Yeah. So just like a team that, really I thought like going into the Arch Madness was like a dark horse pick, but not even a dark horse pick, just like an outside pick of like the top 2 or 3. UNI won it. Northern Iowa won it, but
who beat Bradley?
Yeah,
the game following.
Yeah, so like they were absolutely in the mix of like teams that you should put on your list. I mean, we already talked about the games, but like their biggest win was 77 UNI. They beat 99 Illinois State. They swept Illinois Chicago, and then they did end the season losing to double overtime to Bradley by 6 in the second round of Arch Madness. And, the recruiting just doesn't stop with this guy. But, like, we thought that they could get to above 500 on the season and hopefully the Valley and make the second round of the Missouri Valley tournament. That's what we thought the goals were. Well, they were above 500. They were above 500 in the Valley.
Yep.
And they got to the second round of Arch Madness. So they met all our goals. But I don't know, just the way the season felt, it felt like they exceeded our goals by a lot because
it felt like I think they exceeded a lot of people's expectations. Like
they were picked dead last.
In February, someone asked me, okay, who are teams in Indiana that are sleepers, that are teams to keep an eye out come conference tournament and NCAA tournament? I was like, Valpo, which didn't think I'd say that at the beginning of this year because we hoped that they got above 500.
Yeah.
They cleared that.
But again, we had absolutely no idea.
And the best part,
what they were going to do.
The best part
prediction was
they're getting everyone back.
Yeah, dang
pretty
near.
much.
Dang near, like
you lose your guys out of eligibility, Deese and Whitaker.
Sean Tupol is leaving, but like
and Tupola, but like
you have your 3 biggest pieces back.
Yeah.
Basically.
And McNair, Chaney, and Pettigrew.
Yeah.
So like that's your core. And that's a core that's, I think, probably going to be pretty dominant.
And it says so much about the culture that they've built there and how, like, what they think of Roger Powell. Because JT Pettigrew could have gone to a high major or, like a 2-bid league Easily.
Yeah.
He could be playing at St. Louis and producing a lot at St. Louis,
Yeah.
you know, but like, I don't think he wants to go sit on a Big Ten bench. I think he wants to play for a coach that respects him, likes him, and wants him to be the best that he can be. And if Roger Powell can continue this, I think Valpo is going to be a force in the Valley. And I also think that you'd be stupid not to have him on your list if you're looking for a coach that can run your high level program.
Absolutely. If he's doing this with the resources that Valpo has.
But he's also got Valpo to buy in again. He's got the community to buy in. They've got so much more money to operate with now. And it's because of him. You know, we had the discussion of like, the arc is old. Do you need to win or do you need money first? And he just said, I don't know, both, but I'll just win. Why don't I just win? Wouldn't that be simplest?
The arc is smaller than some high school gyms.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, our high school gym to be specific.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they incredibly successful season. I think far and away probably in our eyes the most success out of every team.
Yeah. Given
when you look at the goals that we had for them, where they were projected, where they ended up. Like, yes, obviously on paper, Purdue's the most successful. They made it to the Elite Eight. But that you expected that. You expected a natty out of them.
Yes.
So like
they technically didn't meet their expectations.
And I think Valpo exceeded their own and everyone else's expectations.
Yep.
So shout out to them and the program that Coach Powell was building. Very positive thing to end on.
I know, man. It feels good. I just love talking about Valpo. Like, there's just, you know, like, talking about, like, PFW last year got me hype. Like, talking about Indiana State 2 years ago made me feel so good. Valpo was this year's story. And I think it's going to be Valpo again next year. It makes me feel like this. So, I'm pumped. We got to get Coach McClung on again. He's a great time.
Yeah.
We got to get him back on. Talk more Valpo. Let's talk about how they got those guys back.
Let's make that happen.
All right.
He's probably watching.
Hopefully.
Hit us up.
Yep.
You know, maybe we go mobile. Maybe we take the podcast to him.
That'd be fun.
We have the technology.
We do have the technology.
Just don't have a third mic. So maybe we don't have the technology.
We have some of the technology.
But with that, is there anything else, Adam?
No. That's all I got.
Well, the clock is showing quadruple zeros, so it's time for us to get out of here. Thanks for checking in on the State of Basketball podcast. We will see you next time. And remember, in 49 states,
it's just basketball.